Epilogue. Moonstrad. Some say you choose your own destiny. Others say destiny is forced upon you. Some say your circumstances define your life. Others say your life defines your circumstances. The Mulwark Archives, last line of Section 1. When Colvin awoke on the cobblestone street, the first thing he felt was cold, an awful, biting chill. Coughing haggardly, he sat up. It was night. Not the same night in which he had killed the Sathagate, but the next night. He could tell because there was now only one moon in the sky, and it was the 4th. Reaching up, he felt his face. The wound had healed nicely. Glancing down, he saw his arm had fully recovered as well. His own dried blood stained his clothes and skin, but all of it was more than a day old. Rising to his feet, Colvin surveyed his surroundings. The Sathagate remained in the middle of the street, dead. Gwenevere's father's house looked abandoned. Must have met up with her father and taken off, leaving me for dead, Colvin thought. Blasted, dying is always so inconvenient. He retrieved his glaive and sword, both of which lay where they had fallen. One nice thing about being an Outlander is that most people believed his equipment was full of demonic forces. Hardly anybody would try to steal from him. Seeing that his helmet had been torn in half, Colvin removed what was left of it and tossed it aside. He needed a new one. Sheathing his sword and using his glaive as a walking stick, he proceeded to the end of the street. His fur coat, bow, and quiver of arrows remained where he had left them. As he pulled on the coat, he heard footsteps approach from behind you. You were dead, a male voice said coolly. You laid in the street for over a day. What sort of power brought you back? Colvin grunted in reply. He slung his bow over his shoulder and picked up his quiver, counting the arrows to make sure he still had them all. I heard you came into town with Gwen, the man said. Is that true? Colvin slipped his quiver strap over his shoulders and let the arrows hang by his waist. Maybe I did, the Outlander muttered. What's it to you? She's a friend of mine. Colvin turned. The man stood a good 10 feet away, wearing an expensive tailored suit coat and a dark black bowler hat. His features were thin, his nose long, and his jaw narrow. He would have been handsome except for the dreadful sneer he wore on his face. So it's true, he murmured, staring at Colvin's eyes. You are an Outlander. That's what Gwenevere's father told everyone as he left. Warned us not to come near here. He left town? Colvin muttered. Where's he taking Gwenevere? She wasn't with him, the man replied. Nobody's seen her since the monster died. Colvin frowned. How could that be? Where else would she have gone? Her father didn't seem to care about her at all, he remembered. Could he have abandoned her? Who did you say you were? Colvin asked the man. Nobody of consequence, the man replied, but his sneer widened. Colvin frowned. Why are you looking for Gwenevere? Because she has become the most important person on Northost, the man said with a casual shrug, although she'll be bested by her child when he's born in a few months. I do suppose you know about that, don't you? Colvin grunted again. Preserving the life of a future Outlander had been why he helped Gwenevere for as long as he did. He'd never met an Outlander's mother before, not since the last time he'd seen his own, and that was over a century ago. Colvin felt connected to Gwenevere. He felt it was his duty to ensure the child was born safely. He owed that much to all Outlanders. She'll be the mother to Northost's newest Outlander, Colvin said. What's it to you? The man's sneer turned into a maniacal grin. More than just any Outlander, he whispered. As rare as normal Outlanders are, Gwenevere's child will be much more. Colvin frowned. He remembered what Johanna had said, and Nildark. It did appear that there was more going on than the birth of an Outlander. Well, I'll leave you to your devices, the man said, turning away. Where are you headed, if I may ask? I have some business to conduct for the south, Colvin replied. He gestured to the Sathagate's corpse. I'm looking for the source of creatures such as this, actually. The man raised his eyebrows. Sathagates? No, I'm looking for frostbitters, Colvin replied. I ran into one further north a few weeks back. A chilling that spat frost like this Sathagate. I'd never seen anything like it. I've heard reports of other frostbitters in Southgate, near Linford. I was on my way to investigate when I ran into this one. He glanced at the Sathagate's body, and then up to his visitor. What's it to you? I just wouldn't want you getting in my way, that's all, the man said. Don't go looking for Gwenevere, whatever you do. It will only bring you trouble. But if these frostbitters really are after her, then you'd be doing me a favor by dispatching them. What's your game, stranger? Covelin asked the man, as the man walked away. An exchange, perhaps? Your name for mine, he called over his shoulder. I'm Covelin, Covelin replied. The man stopped at the end of the street and turned back, his eyes glinting in the night. Covelin, they call you Dragonsbane, do they not? I have earned many names in my life. The man narrowed his eyes. Another would be Moonstride, if I'm not mistaken. It was you, was it not, at Barty's Square in Castleton? Moonstride's massacre? Covelin furrowed his brow. Not many people knew to connect his name with the title Moonstride. How'd you know about that? He asked guardedly. The man shrugged. I'm good at following rumors. He turned to leave. And your name? Covelin asked. The man glanced back just for a moment before disappearing around the corner. I'm called Ravon, he said. Good night, Outlander. Ravon, Covelin thought as he watched the man disappear. Where have I heard that before?